This is for a brighter future.
We are continuing our profile of the 2016 Grammy Music Educator Award finalist, brought to you by Soundtrap, a Google for Education partner, Make Music and Podcast Online, a collaborative tool for the modern classroom. And we've been talking about this with all the different finalists, but obviously, look, out of 4,500 nominees this year, the finalists span 18 states and 10 cities. From the Recording Academy and the Grammy Foundation, it's a great pleasure to now introduce a finalist in Lexington, Kentucky at Edythe J. Hayes Middle School. Lois Wiggins, how are you, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. I'm doing great. No complaints.
Lois, what was it like when you got the news, both from your family's sort of response and then the extended family of the school community there at Edythe Hayes?
It was really it was just an astounding day. The Grammy Foundation had let us know on Friday afternoon who the finalists were, and I had to keep it secret. They did tell us that we could let our close family know and our close friends. So I let my family know that it was going to be announced on CBS News that following Monday morning, and everybody was just ecstatic. It was hard to keep it a secret over the weekend. And then when it was finally announced on Monday, the overwhelming support of my school community and my former students, it was crazy. I will continue to always be inspired by just the love and support, most especially from my former students, because they just really, if you will, came out of the woodwork to say, we're so proud of you, Miss Wiggins, and thank you for the way that you touched my life. I actually heard from a student that I had my very first year of teaching. He had saved some videotape, or back in the day when it was videotape, and he was digitizing it, and he was like, I saw the announcement, and I just wanted to share this with you. And the fact that I was still having some sort of an impact on a student that I taught 30 years ago, my very first year, is very humbling to me. So it was great. It was a great day. Great day.
Let's talk about that, Lois, about this 30 years that you've been in your career, and just reflecting back. I would imagine that at a time like this, it really does make you reflect on the approaches that you took originally as a teacher, how that has changed over time. How have you grown as both a person and a professional?
Well, over the years, I've found that, I'm sorry, my dog wants to be a part of the interview too. So
the more the better, right?
But anyway, I have found that if I can really nurture students, that's where I'm going to have the best impact. And I, over the years, have just found that that's been the most positive approach. And that wasn't always the case. Not that I didn't care about my students and I didn't want to see them do well, but just beyond the music classroom, just making sure I'm a part of their lives and I know what's going on in their lives, or the challenges that they might be having, or things they might be celebrating. It's just another avenue that I can use to enrich my relationship with them.
Let's talk about how music education and the arts has both been marginalized and then brought back to the surface, thankfully so, in the inclusion of STEAM, taking STEM and adding A for arts, and in the STEAM initiatives that we're now seeing around the country. And the rest of the world is really watching to see how we're integrating in the arts and trying to be more thoughtful with that. How have you seen that change through the years? Because I know that when I grew up, it was still a part of the curriculum. And then you started to see where are we going to take away, because we didn't have enough time.
Right.
So sadly, the arts became, a victim in that discussion. And now hopefully we're seeing that we're having more conversations like we are today about the importance of it. So how have you seen that evolve?
And most of my career has been in Kentucky. And over the years, we have gone through some different testing avenues, and arts education was a part of that. So there have been times when I felt like the arts were going to be discontinued, but because it's a part of what we call our program review in the state of Kentucky, then it's been a part of the overall classroom experience, graduation requirements, and things like that. Of course, we're fighting that a little bit now. Senate Bill 1 wants to take the accountability away from arts education, but we've got some great advocates through our State Music Education Association that are making sure that hopefully that won't happen. So in my career in lifetime, I really haven't had to fight that battle as much as some other folks have in other states. States. And I really hope that that's going to continue to be the case.
Lois, talk about the greater community of music educators in general. What is that like? Is it a close-knit community? I mean, do you share friendships and professional relationships with people that are like you in other schools, not only in Kentucky, but around the world?
Well, mostly in Kentucky, and then this, the close states the states that are close to me. I have a lot of friends and connections in Tennessee, and then in Indiana. I taught there for a little while, and then I just finished a tenure as the state band chair for our state music association, and I was able to contact and hire conductors from other parts of the states and really world, state renowned people, United States renowned folks. So I've gotten to kind of broaden my contact in that aspect. And then through my work with the Lexington Brass Band, I play in that group, just being able to associate with artists, professional artists. I've just been able to grow a really big umbrella of wonderful support in terms of artistic performers and educators.
Let's expand or dive into the community of educators broadly. Some of your colleagues in the finalists of the Grammy Educator of the Year Award were talking about the struggle or just the ongoing awareness that they need to be thinking about in making sure that music education is considered an active part of curriculum, just like any other subject. So that conversation has been had, and I've also had some other threads around, we shouldn't be defending music education because that's giving in to those that are trying to marginalize it in the first place. Where do you sit into that discussion?
Well, I'm with you. I don't think we should have to defend what we do, and because I do, part of the thing I said in the Grammy documents that I had to put together was how important arts make us who we are as a culture and a country. And I think if we lose the arts, we just lose a part of ourselves that's not replaceable. So just in terms of that, I agree 100%. I am so fortunate to be in a building and in a school district where the arts are very much important. We have 12 middle schools, 5 high schools, and I think the number is 32 elementary schools, and all of those schools have dedicated music teachers. All of the secondary schools have orchestra teachers and band teachers, in some cases 2 in each school to help support that. So in terms of that, I agree with you 100% that it's not something that we should have to defend. And I've been really lucky in that I've been in situations where I haven't had to defend it very much.
And we want to remind everybody and thank our sponsor, Soundtrap. You can go to soundtrap.com/education. You can make music and podcast online, a collaborative tool for the modern classroom. Schools use Soundtrap in their projects to foster deep learning and develop students' creative, collaborative, and communication skills. Lois, there was something that I saw, and it may have been in one of those Grammy video submissions, and it was from, I believe it was a high school band director that basically, in essence, your students are then going to. And
correct. Yeah, Bill Kite.
Yeah, he had this fantastic comment about really the development of these students that he's basically inheriting under the tutelage of you and your program there. Talk with me about the benefits of character development under the guise of what music can do in the creative arts, because that to me is something that it jumps off the page when I hear it from him. But I don't often think that we talk about that enough in the overall development scheme of a child and what we can be contributing to them from our perspectives as adults.
Sure. Well, I just, I obviously teach the children music and I teach them to play their instrument. But, what's really important to me is to teach them to be good people, good citizens, good supporters, to be good to each other, to treat each other like family and be kind. And so in that, we try every year to do some community service type things. We do a lot of talk about character ed. We have a pretty strong program in our school where we actually do character ed lessons on a regular basis. And that used to be a part of what I had to do with my first period class once a week. And they moved it to a different part of the day. And I was really disappointed because I loved having those conversations with my students. It didn't have anything to do with music. It just had to do with how important it is that we learn to be good citizens, how to support each other. Somebody's being bullied. What should I do? How do we walk up to each other and greet each other? Just things like that. That enhances, I think, or strengthens the trust that the students have in me when they know that it's not just about getting the music to sound great or getting the right buttons pushed down on the instrument or playing in the right key. I think it develops a trust in me that I'm looking beyond that. And then in essence, it kind of strengthens the way I'm able to, I guess, teach them and get them to perform better.
Lois, I can't help but think that as I listen to you and the other finalists, if I didn't know that we were talking about music education and the arts, I could very easily walk into this conversation and think that we were potentially talking about the value of athletics. Athletics are obviously celebrated. I know you're a big fan of sports, Dallas Cowboys, Atlanta
Oh,
Braves.
yes.
I might challenge you on a couple of those, but I'll respect them today. But, we celebrate athletics. And a lot of the things you're talking about, those are similar themes and threads that we hear about the power of a coach, the power about teamwork and collaboration and the camaraderie, and then how we can really develop as young people. Yet we celebrate often in social media, popular media, athletics. How can we do a better job of communicating all of this incredible value from the arts in a similar way so that we don't have to battle with either defending the arts or trying to make sure that we have a sort of a seat at the table?
It's one of my greatest frustrations. I just, I wish I knew the answer, except that we have just got to be champions for ourselves. This past Sunday, I was a part of I work with the youth orchestra here in Lexington, and we had our Teen Arts Festival, which was it was a series of 4 or 5 concerts, hundreds of kids. And the culminating event was the concerto concert with the top group, 3 fabulous high school musicians that would have just knocked your socks off in the quality of their performance. And the first thing I did was look around and go, where's the media? Why are they not here? And why are we not just, bouncing off the walls about all these kids who are involved in music? So I think as a music educator, we have to do a better job of making sure and just really fighting the good fight at getting out into the media and the press and the newspapers, to our schools, what our kids are doing and how well they're doing it. I try to do that at my school. We send invitations out to all our concerts. I have the kids give personal invitations to their teachers to come out. Any opportunity that we have to play, we take it. And then on top of that, I make sure that we produce a quality product, which in some cases I think it might be a roadblock for some of us, especially those of us who stand in front of ensembles. The kids want people to come and see things that they are really proud of. So it's our responsibility to make sure the products that they produce, the plays that they do, the musicals that they put on are really things that the kids are going to be proud of, not anything that's mediocre or even average. And then as educators, make sure that people know about it and that you have an audience there to see that. We've just got to be our own better champions, because I just don't think anybody is going to do it for us.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree with you on that. I also want to touch on, there were a number of people that were referenced in your submission that were obviously students of yours, and now they've grown up to be band directors. And I had not seen that from a lot of people. That must have a great sense of pride when it comes to seeing them, that not only did they learn from you, did they develop as a young person, but they said, you know what, I want to follow in a very similar path.
Yes, that was great. And I call them my grandchildren, actually. But that has been so rewarding. And I think I had 2 on the video, Adam and Joel, who are both band directors now, that I started them on their instruments. So I just, I knew that they really bought into it. I'm so tickled to death that not only are they music educators, band directors, but they're really good at what they do. And then even now I've been teaching long enough that I have in my 6th and 7th grade band this year, my grandbabies, whose parents I had back in Madisonville. Actually, I have 3 grandbabies in my 6th grade, and then one that's gone on to 7th grade. So that's really cool too. They all approached me at the same time at our fall concert and let me know that, by the way, Miss Wiggins, you remember we were in your band. So that's really cool. It's just like I said earlier, it's just that lasting impact that you have on young folks that, I smile. I can't help but smile when I think about that, because really the fact that I did something that gives somebody a cause to want to continue along the same lines makes me feel really good. I think it's a true testament to you sharing as an educator, not just in music, the way you share with kids. If it's something that they want to go on and do, then I think you've really done your job well. I'm really proud of that.
Lois, what would be something that your students over the 30 years would be surprised to know about you? I'm sure that they know about your sports affiliation. What would be one thing that would surprise?
Oh gosh, they would probably be really surprised to know that I'm an avid model railroader.
Really?
Yes, I have a 4x8 in-scale layout in my garage that I built all myself. I can run 4 trains at one time, 2 ovals on the bottom and a double figure 8 on top. How about that?
Was that something from your childhood?
I just have always had a crazy fascination with trains.
Really?
And so I got my first part-time job in high school and spent all my money buying things for my train set. And then when I finally got out of college and got a real job, then I could buy lots of really cool stuff for my train set.
All right. So what is your favorite movie that had a music theme to it or was about music? One of the most recently we had Whiplash last year that was in the Oscar race. So what is one of your favorite?
I have to say, if with a musical theme, I'm thinking more of soundtracks. So that's a tough question for me. Boy,
We can't make it easy on you, Lois.
of course,
You're
of
a
course
cowboy
not.
fan.
Let's see. Into the Woods, but I don't know if you can call that. It's not necessarily a musical theme, but the music in that was really fascinating to me.
Did you see Whiplash?
I did not. I did not see Whiplash.
So we'll have to talk about that because trust me, you would not have been the main character because he's let's just say he's very aggressive with his prized students.
Right. I know the premise of the movie.
You know the premise,
I haven't
right?
seen it yet.
But I think what's fascinating is the relationship and the power of music as the bond between professional and student. So yeah, that would be really interesting to hear sort of your thoughts on that. Let's close with this because I've got to ask you this question as sports fans that we are. So what was your take on the Rose Bowl and the Stanford band? Did you see what they did regarding Iowa and all of that? I'd be curious as to what your thoughts were.
Was this the farmers thing? The farmers thing that they did?
Basically.
Well, okay. So my basic philosophy is that we've got to support each other. And I don't know, I just have a hard time if we're even in jest, if we're going to do something that's going to be hurtful to somebody, I don't know. I have a hard time with that because I think we get a lot of we get put in a lot of difficult situations defending ourselves anyway. So, I mean, I just think we have to help each other, even if it's something that's going to be in jest. Kind of like when the sports reporter a couple months ago said something about the band geeks, and there was just a firestorm because if I hear another music educator or band director talk about band nerds or things like that, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not going to buy into that. Yeah. I'm not a nerd. My kids aren't nerds. So let's not go down that road.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Messaging is important.
Yeah, it is. And it might sound, well, Lois, it's a joke. Well, I don't think it's so funny because I just know how hurtful things can be for some people sometimes. And I don't want us to do anything that's going to give anyone else cause to say, oh, it's okay to say that. You can share that kind of I can have that. Well, you can relay that opinion to lots of different things in society now. It's okay if she says this, but it's not okay if this person says that. So that's kind of how I feel about that.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure to get to know you, and congratulations on being 2016 Grammy Music Educator Award finalist at Edythe J. Hayes Middle School in Lexington, Kentucky, just down the road or up the road from me. Yeah. So very, very honored to be able to speak with you. We want to thank our sponsor, Soundtrap. You can go to soundtrap.com/education. Remember, make music and podcasts online with Soundtrap, a collaborative tool for the modern classroom and a Google for Education partner. Once again, I'm Dr. Rod Berger.
This is for a brighter future.